let's talk about the great Third Awakening. Now, there were two major awakenings. I don't know if you know the dates. I don't really know them, but there was the Charles Finney years and all these ones. So,
Yes.
so what's the deal with the Third Great Awakening? What's different about this one that's coming?
Well, it's been prophesied by many prophets of old. You remember Bob Jones' prophecy. He had three things that needed to happen, and before the Third Great Awakening would take place, that there'd be a phone that you could actually watch TV, and that was the iWatch that came out. And then he said that the Kansas City Chiefs would win the Super Bowl, which has taken place, right? And so, like everything that he said needed to take place has taken place. And the Lord told me to announce many months ago at our revival center. The Lord said, Nathan, I want you to release this word that the Third Great Awakening is here. And so I was there preaching at our home church, the Rock Revival Center. And I said, Lord, you want me to say the Third Great Awakening is here? So I said, the Third Great Awakening is here. And somebody said, did you say third grade? And I said, no, I said the Third Great Awakening. It's here. It's now. We don't have to believe for it. We just receive what God is saying. And man, we have experienced an intense glory and an outpouring like what we've never seen before. And the prophetic, it's like the whole church started flowing in the prophecy and the gift of miracles and healings. And I mean, it's like all of a sudden people realize I got the same Holy Spirit and I can do this stuff too. And they're taking the gospel out to the streets. We're seeing young people going out and ministering, just following the Spirit and destroying the works of the devil. And it's fun. And Steve, it almost becomes really easy when you're surrendered and the Lord puts fire on your altar, the sacrifice of your life. And he says, you know what? I saw you went all in. I saw it was sincere. Now I'm going to honor your heart to see that awakening everywhere you go. And so we're seeing young people literally coming, running to the altar, confessing the sins of, lust of the eyes, lust of the flesh, the pride of life. They're getting right. They're confessing sins one to another. I love seeing the young people grabbing the hands of the elders, the elders. And seeing the young and the old run together, that's to me one of the most incredible signs of the significance of this move. When you got the wisdom of the old with the strength of the young, so that the old can rely on the strength of those footmen, and the young can rely on the wisdom in some of the people who are older. And it doesn't necessarily mean that older people or elder people are more wise necessarily, but it just means that God's doing a work where he's pouring his Spirit out. And with his Spirit pouring out is pouring out divine wisdom, the manifold wisdom of God. And it's coming out, pouring out on the ecclesia. So it's really fun to watch.
So good. And we were talking with Amanda yesterday, and I realized that at these different gatherings with Clay Clark, General Flynn, all that, she's been having a baptism. She had it in Tampa, and then she had it on the beach in San Clemente that we just talked about the other day. And I happened to comment, this is like the Jesus movement, where these people would go to the beaches. And someone kind of corrected me. They said, Sean Foyt has already been doing this, which is also true. Sean Foyt's been having massive gatherings on the beaches and baptisms everywhere he goes. So it didn't originate with Amanda. It probably didn't originate with Sean Foyt, but they are following and this is kind of what you're saying, Nathan, those that allow the Holy Spirit to have his way, they're going to see these explosive growths. And the numbers only are important if it includes brand new salvations all the time. Otherwise, the numbers are particularly meaningful. But to have growth with unsaved people suddenly getting saved is a marvelous thing. I just think we haven't seen the half of it, the 10th of it, the 100th of it, of the baptisms on the beach. And man, I'm so excited. I'm so excited about this. This is great. So anyway, let's see. What was I going to? You had on your list. What was I going to say? You talked about only unshakable things, and I wanted to approach that. If a great shaking is coming, and only that which can be shaken will be shaken, so that what cannot be shaken will remain. What is this shaking going to look like? Is it God shaking? Is it the devil taking off after us? And now that's part of the shaking that God allows it. How do you see the shaking? What's causing it? The devil or the Lord or some sort of both?
Well, here's what's been happening, Steve, that I've been witnessing is the Lord is touching on individual people's lives and saying, hey, I don't want you doing that anymore. I need you to be doing this. And it could be something that people are doing professionally, or they're in the wrong, they're in the wrong field. And so people are moving out of the wrong job and getting a better job, or even moving into like a career. Many people are going to get plucked out during the transference of wealth from a thing that they thought that they were supposed to be doing into the thing that they were actually created to be doing. And there will be a grace on it to advance the kingdom. And that transference of wealth is actually starting to happen right now. Like literally millions and millions of dollars are starting to flow, even into the billions, from the wicked into the hands of the righteous, as the Lord is tripping the traps and the snares of the fowler. So we know the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. So reverencing God, it gives us a state of understanding the need to yield. Like a tree that doesn't bend breaks when the wind blows. And so the Lord's starting to pour out the four winds of the spirit again. Like, in the end times, I'll pour my spirit out on all flesh. It's the Ruach HaKodesh, the breath of God. It's almost as though the Lord is breathing on the flames of the people who have surrendered, because everyone has their own flame. But some flames are bigger and brighter and hotter and more capable of bringing revival, because they're more yielded, more surrendered. They passed the test, and the Lord is testing our hearts, not tempting us, but testing us to see if we're willing and if we're capable of yielding, so that we can pour out with him the rivers of living water. So I saw conduits, like people like standing on top of each other and next to each other, and they were blocking the flow of the water like a dam. And the Lord said, what was dammed up, what was blocked up, what was stopped up by the lies of the enemy, people are going to start laying down, Steve, at another level of surrender, like laying their life down and then becoming like conduits that like he can flow through. And you get enough people laid down for the glory of God, like humble yourself and I'll lift you up. Present your life as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable and pleasing unto the Lord. And all of a sudden, the living water starts gushing. What was dammed up, blocked up, and stopped up breaks forth. And that's part of his plan to release the third great awakening. Out of your belly will flow rivers of living water. Rivers will flow, or they're not called rivers, right? They're lakes if they don't flow. The Dead Sea is dead because nothing flows out of it. And so the Lord's saying what will give people the capacity to really get in the river is to recognize that they don't decide where the river flows. The Holy Spirit can do whatever the Holy Spirit wants. Us yielding to the Spirit and practicing yielding to the Spirit will cause there to be an unusual success. And that's when all grace abounds towards us. That's when you're going to see the political offices ordained of God. He's plucking people out that have been resisting him, that have been selling out. And he's putting people in that actually have his heart to hear him and to be led by him as the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. He's the reigning champion. He doesn't lose. And God's about to do something right now in the political arena that we've never even seen before. It's going to make history. And the way that God's hand is on Trump and Melania and their family, I mean, it's almost like there's an all-out attack on misinformation. And this is my opinion, but I believe that the Lord is going to do a quick work and in the political mountain, and it's going to send shockwaves, Steve, into the mountain of education and the mountain of religion, or the church and the ministries that have his name.